let's go to Yeshiva University. That's where we find Sharon Crowley. There was a vigil that just took place at Yeshiva University, and it just ended. But Sharon, we can see all the lights lit behind you. Tell us a little bit about where you are and what you're sensing there.
Well, let me explain to our viewers, Teresa, that Yeshiva University is an international university. People come here, as I say, from all over the world. That includes Australia. And we spoke tonight with a student from Australia that had friends that were on Bondi Beach during the shooting and ran for their life. Tonight here in a dormitory, which is where I am now, you see all the Hanukkah lights lit behind me. It's the second night of Hanukkah, of course. And they had a vigil. They gathered together students, about 30 or 40 students gathering together, singing and praying, trying to show solidarity for the anti-Semitism that is going on around the world and what was highlighted, of course, in this mass murder that happened on Bondi Beach in Australia. And people here were just devastated, including there's a student here that goes to the Stern Business School here, and it was her uncle, a rabbi, who was killed, just 41 years old with a big family. His parents live in Israel, so her father flew to Israel to try to sit Shiva and comfort them. The students here just want others in the world to know that they are thinking about the victims in Australia, and that's one of the reasons they organized this event tonight. And the president of the university speaking as well, and a number of students. They really just feel with these over and over again, more and more of these anti-Semitic, violent attacks. And, many of them telling me they fear for their own safety, not just when they're traveling abroad, but even right here in New York City. So that's the state of the affairs we're in. And Teresa, after such a devastating weekend, with all the stories that you headlined at the top there happening, students really felt it was important to come together. And what I'm hearing over and over again, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this later in the show, but there's a lot of people in the Jewish community that are doubling down on Jewish pride at a time like this and really reaching for the light. And that was the message of the niece that we interviewed, and her uncle is a rabbi who was murdered on Bondi Beach. And she said he would want us to reach for the light, not, sit in darkness at this time. So it's really something to hear these young people talk about that and to talk about the existence they have every day, just taking the subway or walking around New York City afraid to show who they really are and embrace their religion. But that's starting to shift, I'm seeing, and we'll see. So that's what was happening here at Yeshiva. You can see I'm meandering a bit, Teresa, but it was really quite a moving event. No, I hear you, Sharon. I know you've done so many different Finding Faith segments with people of Jewish faith, and especially in the wake of October 7th. You and I both have friends of Jewish faith, and I feel like people went one of two ways. They either completely leaned in to their Jewish pride, or they were concerned about displaying it because of the rise of hate crimes and anti-Semitism, even just here in New York, which has one of the largest Jewish populations outside of Israel. As I understand it, Australia is home to the largest concentration of Holocaust survivors outside of Israel as well. I mean, so this is a place, I know Australia is a big country, but this is a place with deep Jewish pride, as we have here in New York City. And so for something like this, something so horrific to happen during Hanukkah, on the eve of Hanukkah, which is supposed to be such a period of time of joyfulness and light and leaning into your gratitude. Exactly. And, and also, rightfully so, showing the resilience of people of Jewish faith with all that they have been through historically, and also in the last 2 years, and also on a day-to-day basis in cities and countries around the world. Yeah, and Hanukkah is so symbolic, Teresa, as you point out. Each day another candle is lit to deepen their spirituality and their faith, as one of the students was just telling me about how he feels about Hanukkah and what they're supposed to be doing at this time. And you mentioned that we have a story actually running on the Fox 5 News at 10 o'clock tonight, another in our series of Finding Faith. In this one, we went to a synagogue in New Jersey, one of the largest. It was formed in the 1800s in Newark and then moved to Short Hills, New Jersey. And they are a part of you mentioned two groups of people. They are doubling down on their Jewish pride. In fact, some of of the couples that I interviewed for the story told me they can't find a Jewish star big enough to wear. They want to spread the word that they're not in fear, that they're good people, and so that's how that. So we'll hear all about that. I hope you'll watch it tonight at 10 o'clock, and maybe you'll play a little for your viewers later. But just in terms of what happens, and I feel like I say this a lot at school shootings, it's just like we always say never again, and then it happens again and again and again, such that we saw in Australia this weekend. And all of the students that I spoke to here tonight praying and singing, they said they got calls at 3 in the morning. You know, obviously the time difference with Australia, and their phones were just blowing up because people wanted to know if they were okay, if they knew anybody who was there. So, you know, it really affects the world. We're really connected digitally, and it can affect something in Australia, half a world away. It really impacts kids here in New York City.
Yeah, we're looking live at the memorial that is happening in Sydney right now at Bondi Beach. It is interesting that you mentioned the idea of never again, because the one thing that I hear when I talk to my friends of Jewish faith is never forget. And they always say to us repeatedly, remember, things like the Holocaust did not start with acts of violence. They started with violent rhetoric. They started with words. They started with hate. They started with bullying. Now, we don't know the motivation behind the individuals in this shooting in Bondi Beach. There is some suspicion that it's maybe connected to an ISIS terror cell in Australia. That'll come out in the course of the investigation. But it is important to remember that words matter, and the radicalization of individuals happens not, again, with one defining moment, but over the course of a period of time. And that's something that our Jewish friends unfortunately know all too well, again, whether we're talking about Australia or we're talking about here in the city. And so I think you and I share in the same sentiment that, like, on a night like this, second night of Hanukkah, such a joyous time, they should be able to rest easy celebrating their holiday.
Yeah, and the president of Yeshiva University addressed the students at this vigil tonight and said, be the light, go out into the community. Yeshiva University stands alone in trying to send out this message to New York City and beyond. Since I said the kids are from all over the world, but he's hoping that they will go out and spread goodness, not evil, if you will. There's no other way to put it. And they need more of that, not less of it.
Yeah, all right, Sharon, we'll let you go. Thank you for your perspective there. Beautiful menorahs that we see on the table behind you, and all of the different lights.
Yes.
All right, we'll let you go, and we are going to listen to your Finding Faith story just a little bit later on. We appreciate it.